Hello, I'm EnterElysium, and we're back in Kerbal Origins. At the moment, we're continuing our mission to try and get all the science from all the moons in the Jool system, then put all the containers back on one ship, and then get that ship back to Kerbin. So we can have the full effect of all the science rather than the crappy percentage that you get from transmitting. So let's dive straight back into it. And actually, we've got a ship coming up for a Laythe encounter, so I think we're going to try for a landing on Laythe with that. Right, let's warp ahead. And atmosphere. Now, we're landing in the dark, and I know that there is an island on this side, so I think we're coming in for the island, judging by... Like, I estimated where the islands were on the other side, and was like, I think this will be where we're landing, will be an island. However, it's dark, so I can't actually see. I'm also going to use the parachutes that are meant to be the descent back to Kerbin. Ooh, I think, yeah, that's it. Oh, crap, we're going to overshoot. We're going to overshoot. Burn, burn, burn. I think a little bit more. Okay, I think we might be okay. I don't want to, if we go into the water, we might not survive the impact. Now, I'm using the parachutes here for the landing, which we were going to use for Kerbin, but because Laythe has an atmosphere, I decided we might as well use the parachutes. I'm going to also try and repack them in space. I've just got to remember to do that. So the center stage, the parachutes weren't ever intended to hold like a full, like, fueled up spaceship up. So we'll need to burn as well. So we've got to burn to... Ooh, that parachute's open. Cool. Right, we are fine. See, without that burn, we'd have probably ripped the parachute straight off, because parachutes are only ever meant to hold the 4-ton center section, not the however much we weigh at the moment section. I don't know, we probably weigh like 25 tons maybe? So a little bit more than it was ever, really designed for. So we're going to have to burn a little bit just to make sure we don't impact too hard. And there's not a lot of clearance room between the bottom of the legs and the engine, so we're going to need to actually touch down really softly, because if we touch down hard at all, the legs will take the impact and then we'll hit our engines and the engines might come off, so we've got to be very gentle here. Ooh, it's a bit of a slope as well, which isn't great for us. Ooh, there we go. And we're down! Yes! And you can see how close we came to landing in the water. Whoops, that would have been not so good. So Laythe is let's get the science. Laythe is actually modelled a bit after Io. Ooh, 140 science, that's nice. Let's try this. Oh, that's some good science right there. And we'll be getting 100% of this when we bring it back, so... Yep, that's good. Temperature sensor. Yep. And seismometer. 700? Ooh, tidal forces. Yeah, alright. So Laythe's actually modelled a bit after Io, and I think I've seen the forum thread where the devs were talking about how Laythe would actually have a bit of volcanic activity and stuff if they could later on. And people are like, oh, Laythe would be amazing to live on, because it's got an oxygen atmosphere, water. Certainly, yeah. But the thing is that it's actually been mentioned in a thread before by one of the devs, I can't remember who it was, that it wouldn't be possible to live on it because there's just no magnetic field, there's too much radiation. 420 for a sample. Sweet! Now, I know you can do a sample from the water as well, or at least I know you can get reports from floating on the surface or whatever, or on the ocean, and I know you can get a report from the land, so I think we can get something from the water as well if we just waddle over to it. 6A. It's the first landing site of our episode 6 branch arc, so we'll call it 6A. What are we going to name it? Laythe and back again, the Kerbal's Dale. There we go. Then we need the S. And what will we put on the black text? Almost went in the drink. There we go. It was close. Right, so quick save, and let's see if we can return all these nice, tasty samples. Whoa. Well, that's one way of getting back in the thing. Now we're going to EV, and I just want to go waddle over to the ocean and see if we can actually pick up the science. That was odd. Pick up the science from the actual ocean itself. Because we could take the entire lander, just pull it up, and then try and land on the ocean. But I'm don't want to risk it. That could end up badly. Right. Sample. No, it's Laythe surface. I want the ocean. Let's try again. No. Okay, I don't think we're going to be able to do it. I think we have to say we've got what we wanted from Laythe and just move on. I don't want to risk trying to screw this up. Bob, you've done a good job. And you just jump and grab. There we go. So yeah, Laythe's a bit like Io. It's the innermost of the moons of Jool, and out of the Galilean moons of Jupiter, Io is the inner one. And Io and Europa and Ganymede have a orbital resonance of 1, 2, 4, which Laythe, Vall, and Tylo have, which means that for every one orbit that ooh, there we go. Daytime. You can appreciate the fact we're so close to the bloody ocean. That was a lot closer than I thought. I should probably just go to Vall now. Right, onward, Vall! So yeah, the orbital resonance of Val's going to be a fairly easy one to file away because no atmosphere, fairly small. It's a bit like a standard moon landing, really. If I can actually just fire in the right direction. Come on, turn, turn. Good boy. Good boy, there we go. Basically means that for every one orbit of Tylo, Vall will do 2, and Laythe will do 4. And this orbital resonance happens because the frequency being regular is just something that they tend towards, and it means that because of this regular pulling and pushing, they get a lot of tidal forces on them. So you get a lot of, say, heating. Like Io itself is a really seismically active moon, but it's too small to really have a lot of heat or a lot of radioactive material decay in the core to cause the heat that we get on Earth for our seismic activity. So all their lava flows and their molten magma and stuff on Io is because the planet's getting squished over and over again by Jupiter pulling on it one way, and then moons going past on the other way, causing it to get squished a bit. Fact for the day. Now we're coming to 150 meters, just going to gently burn. Nothing special about this landing. We have lost our external fuel tanks. This lander had the most correction to do on the burn to Jool, and I completely screwed up the burn to Jool, by the way. I should have done it with maneuver nodes to be accurate, but instead I was just overall of thumbing it because I had so many to do. And I've lost probably about 700 delta V roughly for each of them, which is not good at all. 700 delta V is a lot. It's useful. So, and ooh, bit hard touchdown, but ooh. Good, we're fine. I was a bit worried there for a second we're going to tip over. So we've lost all the external tanks on this, and we've just got the center stages now, which isn't very good. This is not great. Luckily, or sort of by design, we decided to land it on Vall, which needs the least delta V to land or take off of the 3 inner moons. Let's grab science from there. 300. Oh, it's really tasty. It's really nice large amounts of science there. Anyway, Val's meant to be like this icy moon, a bit like Europa. So Europa's like an icy moon that has a subsurface ocean, or at least theorized to. And it would actually possibly be one of the best places to colonize because it may be near Jupiter and have a large amount of radiation from the magnetic field. We can't do a pressure scan, there's no atmosphere. That makes sense. But if we were to, say, colonize underneath the ice flow, so if we were to, say, colonize attached to the bottom of the ice layer in the ocean, then the ice would form basically a barrier between the radiation. Ooh, get out, and let's just jump off. There's no gravity. Well, there's very little gravity, so it's easy. There we go. That's a very low EVA report, 96. I was expecting more. 360, sorry, for a sample though, so not complaining. Let's put our flag down. There we go. So yeah, the ice would form a barrier for the radiation, so people wouldn't die from radiation poison. Right. 6, I think B, aren't we? Yeah. Vall and back again. Kerbal's tail. Bit cold for a winter resort. There we go. Yeah, I couldn't think of anything to write. It's a bit crap. Right. Let's get back in our ship. Yay, I love low gravity. And board. There we go. Let's try the magnometer. Oh, we can't do it right now. Oh, yeah, you can't do it while landed. You have to be orbiting to use the magnometer. That comes in the Interstellar mod pack, by the way. Used to detect the magnetic fields. Bill seems happy. But I think we're a bit low on fuel in general in the Jool system, so I think we need to come up with something to sort that. And this is our fueling machine. Notice lots of specially staged nuclear engines. And, you know, a little probe car on top. This thing basically will cannibalize its own fuel until you need to, you know, offload any fuel. However, you know, it's set up so that the docking port is only accessible once we've dumped that middle tank, so it's not ideal. And there we go. Isn't it pretty? There's quite a lot more in orbit than I thought it would actually have, so, you know, it's fairly efficient. I'm pleased with it. However, we're not going to Bop or Pol at the moment, and I felt, what if we could go to Bop or Pol and get all the science? So I may be pushing it now, but I've come up with something specially designed to get us even more science. So we can go to Bop and Pol and pick all that lovely science up. And this is it. Da-da-da! 2 crew cabins, so we can take 2 lots of EVA reports, 2 lots of crew reports, 2 lots of samples. And big boosters with low power engines, because we're only landing on very low gravity worlds. Bop and Pol both being really low gravity. And we're going to take this there, we're going to, you know, pick up the science from them, and then this center section will break off. It weighs in just under 4 tons, I believe, and we should be able to dock it onto the return module on the top, on the docking port, which I was going to use for refueling. It is pushing it. And this is Pol. So, now the return module was designed to have 4 kilometers of delta V and bring back 12 tons. However, we are slightly under the limit just if we get rid of the RCS tanks. And we can take an extra 3-4 tons, I think, and still probably have enough fuel to get home. We are getting very tight, but I felt that if we were actually going to go to Jool and do the moons, we might as well grab all the moons. So why not? You know me. I'll bite off more than I can chew. Right, let's do the landing. See how low the gravity is. We need to do hardly any delta V to actually do this. So, which of course means it's more difficult to do the actual capture. And we're going to have to go from Pol to Bop, which is going to be interesting. Coming to land here. Just needing to burn off all our orbital velocity. Ooh, 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 the terrain gets coming up quick. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Crap. There we go. We've still got the large tank on the bottom, so we'll have to dump that soon. Probably have to dump it before it's even empty at this rate. There we go. I like how it collapsed. Oh crap, we're going sideways too quick. If we go sideways at this speed, we'll probably topple over. Whoop. Let's no. Oh wait, whoop. We need to kill a lateral velocity first. No, we're gonna tip. Oh, MechJeb. Yeah, MechJeb has useful surface info. It has 3.5 meters per second. We need to get that under 1, ideally. This thing's fairly top heavy. It will tip over pretty easy, especially in the low gravity. Ooh, going sideways too fast now in the other direction. Here we go. We're coming to landing. Half a meter per second at the moment. That's good. Ooh. Quarter meter per second. Third of a meter. Yes. Beautiful. Well, not beautiful. Okay, I'll admit that wasn't beautiful. That was fairly terrifying. Right, let's do our science. So we've got that one. We'll keep that. 300 science. 300 science? Nice. Observe some mystery goo. The goo's nice. Cool. That's excellent. And get a crew report. Okay. 600 for the seismic data. Ooh. The lucile transmits vibrations differently from other bodies. No pressure data. Okay. Let's get some magnetosphere. No. Okay. Oh yeah, we can't do it well landed. I keep doing that. Right. Let's get some EVA data. Wee boing. There we go. Number 96 for the EVA report. Beautiful science right there. We can have so much when we bring, if we manage to bring it back. I have no idea if we're actually. Ooh, 360. We'll probably be allergic to it. Oh, that's a shame. Now, where are we actually in terms of flags? We've done A and B. Okay, cool. Yeah, here you can see all of our craft currently in the Jool system. There's actually a couple of fuel tankers on, actually more than a couple. I think there's like 4 currently en route that you can't see. I decided to do the landing since we actually ended up with a fairly good encounter for Pol. And plant the flag. Da-da-da. 6C. Pol and back again. A Kerbal's tail. Now, Pol and Bop don't really. They aren't any of the Jovian moons that we know. Sorry, the Galilean moons that we know from Jupiter. They're just fairly generic. Bop's obviously a small captured asteroid. Very brown, lots of jagged, not for eating. There we go. But Pol's a fairly big body, but just fairly generic-ish. There isn't anything special about Pol in particular. These rocky spire things are interesting, certainly. Very bizarre. It's also nice to be able to do this sort of RCS floating around. It's very strange to do it. Basically, it feels like you're in vacuum because there's so little gravity, but you slowly drift downwards. It's very weird. After floating in gravity for too long with RCS, it's just a very strange sensation. Anyway, let's get on board. Oh, you can see our booster tank over there. That's interesting. We're just like littering the solar system now. There's just so much debris I've left in the Jool system, and those refueling tanks that come in, they're going to be even more debris because they shed stuff as they come in, and then they, they're going to get left themselves in the end of the day. The only thing that's coming back is the refueler. And not the refueler, the center stage, with the center stages of each of the landers. Let's see if we can get an image from over here. There we go. I just love this. It's like a ridiculously massive section. It's just landed perfectly intact because we were just going at such a low velocity. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Right, we better head off for Bop now, because we're really lucky in that, despite them not having any orbital resonance whatsoever, we've got a fairly good encounter coming up for Bop. I spotted on the map, so we might well be able to get a really good straight from Pol to Bop jump without actually having to, time accelerate for getting the orbits aligned. So if we put a maneuver on, you can see Bop there. It's coming in, and it's really inclined. But luckily for us, this close encounter that we look like we might actually be having is roughly near the what's the middle node called? I can't remember. Basically the plane boundary point. So we might. Ooh. I think we had. There we go. That's a close point. We can bring that in a bit. Now, normally this would take a lot more delta V, but because we're so far out on... oh, there we go. because we're so far out, we've got such a good encounter. We're now at Bop. Now, Bop is really, really low gravity. I can't think of anything with less gravity, really. Actually, no, there's a couple of other moons. But Bop in particular is probably one of the lowest gravity things in Kerbal Space Program, so we can easily just burn 200 delta V to get rid of our orbital speed. That's it. So, done. And we'll point retrograde. And I think it should be fairly flat while we're coming down. That black area, sort of the darker area, I think denotes the planish area. So it's just gently, gently. If I'm too vigorous with the throttle, we could just end up skyrocketing. So, oh crap, just stop pointing retrograde. Point me, kill rot. There we go. Here we come. Ooh, maybe it's not as flat as I thought, but I think we'll be fine. It's such a low gravity world. Oh, and there we go. Oh, I think we're fine. We're fine. Ta-da! Let's get our last bit of science. 300 from Bop surface. Nice. I especially picked the Kerbals that are on this voyage as well. They are both very courageous and very stupid. Of course, this very much tacked on mission to the original mission, which is all rather haphazard, does mean we need them to be a little bit gullible. 600 for there's nothing major going on, so we get 600 science for that. Okay, fair enough. No pressure scans, and let's try the magnometer. I don't think it works. No, we're not on the we're on the surface, so it don't work. Okay. Right, no, we did a crew report on the bottom one, so let's crew report the top one. 60? Eh. And that's EVA. Nope, wrong one. There we go. Boing. So slow walking. I was gonna have a little walk out in the shadow, but I think we might just have to, you know, take a picture from here and then put our flag down. EVA report 96, 360, and plant flag. Da 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 da. There we go. What are we on now? 6D, aren't we? Yeah. Bop and back again. Kerbal tail. Small and brown, like an intergalactic meatball. There we go. I have no idea when writing those plaques. Screw it, let's RCS. Forwards! Oh. Nope, no, that's too high. Go down. There we go. Ta-da! And that's Bop. That's all but Tylo. I think we're doing pretty well. Right, and we're at Tylo now. Now, I decided that the actual lander we have currently, the generic lander, isn't going to land us on Tylo, because we need something like 4K delta V to land, and then we need about, I don't know, 3K delta V to take off. This lander currently has like, what, 4K delta V-ish, and its thrust-to-weight ratio is nowhere near enough, because you need a thrust-to-weight ratio that's really high to land on Tylo, because Tylo is the size of Kerbin with no atmosphere, which means it's got 1G, but with no atmosphere to slow you down, which is bonkers. Absolutely ridiculous. Why it has no atmosphere at all is bizarre as well, considering it's right next to a gas giant, which will definitely pull in lots of like particles. Why it has no atmosphere, don't know. So I launched, along with the refueling tankers, a specially designed vehicle for landing. Now, I was considering taking the center section out of this lander and then trying to land it, and then I decided because it would be attached by a docking port, it'd be too wibbly wobbly. So I decided in the end, because this lander hasn't actually got any science on it already, we might as well just dump this lander, use a different lander, and then take the center section out of the different lander. It's the same center section, but the lander's specially designed for Tylo. Let's put it that way. It's a behemoth. It is pretty damn hardcore. Just name abandoned and EVA. Yep, we've got everything. And of course, this is Jeb. Jeb decided to take the hardest mission for himself. Okay, it wasn't planned at all. It just happened that Jeb was badass enough that he had enough fuel left that I put him around Tylo. Right. And this is the Tylo lander. This actually has a thrust to weight ratio in 1G of over 1. I think it's about 1 with the full tank in the center, but when the full tank in the center is dropped, I think we're up to about 1.3 with nuclear engines alone. And that's designed because nuclear engines operate by creating vacuum, really efficient. However, we need the thrust to weight ratio to be really high, which nuclear engines are really bad at thrust to weight. So we've got a lot of them. People have said, well, I've posted a picture of this on Twitter, and people were like, oh, is it asparagously staged? No. Asparagus staging decreases your thrust to weight ratio, but improves your fuel consumption. Which is great for when you want to leave a body, because you want a decreasing thrust to weight ratio and increasing fuel consumption. However, when you're landing, you need the thrust to weight ratio, so it's not asparagously staged. It's got a couple of stages, but they're not asparagus by any means. So let's try and... Whoop! Okay, that's odd. What's going on? Whee! Right, and let's fire this puppy up. You notice the docking port there. Yeah, I had to refuel it a lot in orbit over Kerbin before we could actually launch it to get here. And it's a fairly beautiful sight. I think that's 40 nuclear engines. So, yeah, it's pretty hardcore. You can see the thrust ratio is already 1.27. And we're just firing 40 nuclear engines all at once. That's how much it takes to actually get this thing to have a thrust ratio that high. Now, it did have a second fuel tank attached to the bottom, or a third or fourth, whatever. Or 19th or 20th. However, we had to drop it to actually get, into orbit around Tylo. That was our interplanetary fuel tank. So now I'm just going to burn retrograde, try and land in this crater, because this crater is nice and flat. We are close to the surface, so closer to sea level, so we're going to have more gravity to escape. But I think landing in a flat location is probably more preferable. And we've got 700 Delta V left in the main tank. And yes, it's a very long burn. Welcome to Tylo. Possibly one of the hardest things to land and take off on. Definitely the hardest thing to land on, I think. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and drop the middle tank. Now. Beautiful sight. Look at it go. I just love that sort of separation bit like that, where the engine fairing comes away. Okay, let's continue our burn. Now, Tylo is the Ganymede in the actual, Jupiter system. Now, both of them share a magnetic field. Both, presumably, at least in the case of Kerbal Space Program, and presumably in the case of Ganymede. We don't know, we haven't been down there, but we're pretty sure. It's caused by an actual metallic liquid core that's causing a magnetic field around the planet, or moon. And this magnetic field is actually fairly sizable. It's not to the extent of anything like, say, Jupiter's magnetic field or Earth's magnetic field, but it's enough that it can actually cause a disturbance in the field lines, which is incredibly rare. It's the only moon, I think, in our entire solar system that actually has a magnetic field. Let's just go down. Do another burn. Keep burning. Keep burning. This isn't good. I was hoping these nuclear engines would get us like almost all the way down, but we're going to have to drop them soon. This is tighter than I'd like. Right, we're going to have to drop them. And this reveals our landing section. Yes, it's got a lot of landing legs. Why do we have so many landing legs? Well, because we're probably going to impact at a fairly high speed. So I wanted to have spares. Right. I didn't want to be using the center section quite so quick. Actually, I didn't want to be using the center section above 5 kilometers, and we're using it at 12. So that's not good. We might actually empty these outer tanks. The outer tanks are actually attached to the landing legs, so normally, you know, you drop them once they're empty, but because they have our landing legs, we're going to have to keep them. Burn. Oh crap, we're down to center section now. Under 3 kilometers delta V. This is not good. Not good. Burn. Okay. Gentle. And, shadow. Moving sideways a bit fast. There we go. Oh, perfect! We've got under 2.5 kilometers of delta V left. This isn't good. This is actually really problematic. So let's put our ladders down. And yes, there's a really elaborate use of ladders here because, well, we can't jump or anything very far because it's, you know, curbing gravity. So these ladders are going to be fairly interesting to definitely get back up. Getting down, we could just fall. Getting back up the ladders is going to be interesting. So let's EVA and have a go. Oh, actually, should we just do our... Yeah, let's try the science. Let's try the magnometer. Oh, we're landed. I keep doing that. But there, you can see from that we actually have a magnetic field being detected, which is, you know, nice. It's also going to mean a lot of science, hopefully. The seismic data. Apparently, the moon seems to be mostly inactive, which is odd considering it's meant to have a magnetic field in the game, and you know its equivalent is Ganymede. So strange. It also gave us a load of science though, so who knows? Only 60 for that. That was a shame. Right, let's deactivate that. Yeah, screw it. We'll just leave it out because it looks interesting out. And EVA. Now climbing down the ladder. This is an interesting part. We ragdolled. Okay, we're good. Let's. Ta-da! We should get the promotional shot. Jeb moves sideways slightly. Forwards. Yeah. If you can turn slightly, Jeb. Thank you. Now your lights on your helmet aren't working. There we go. Beautiful. There we go. That's a promotional shot. We actually managed to land on Tylo. That was incredibly difficult. I spent ages pondering about that design, actually landing on Tylo. So very, very, very difficult. Right, we'll keep that data. We'll take a sample. Put a flag down. You know, all the standard stuff. Yeah, it's the last one, and we've done all the others. And that's 5. That's, yeah, 6E. So, Tylo, and back again. Kerbal's... I'm not sure about back again. We have 2.5 kilometers of delta V left. It's going to be interesting, put it that way. It's going to be very interesting. Luckily, the refueling ships are heading in the system now, so even if we can't make it out of Tylo fully, we can hopefully get into an orbit. If we can't get into an orbit, we're screwed. If we can get into orbit, hopefully we can refuel. Right, that was terrifying. That's Kerbal for a badass job. There we go. If it wasn't Jeb, I don't think we could have done this landing. You know, it was pretty... 360 for the sample. Well, it's been that for everyone, hasn't it? No. Oh well, we'll keep that. And Right, this is the elaborate system we have to do to actually get back aboard. Extend that ladder. And extend that ladder. And then hopefully... Yep, there we go. Let's jump off that ladder. Whoop. Grab this one. Go up. There we go. And now this is the one moment of truth. Like, we can actually fall off here if we're not careful, and then have to climb all the way back up again. So, careful, careful. Ooh. Ooh. Come on, come on. Give us the option. There we go, grab. Yes, there we go. Beautiful. And there we have it. We've landed on every body in the Jool system. Let's grab the left on the sights. Now, the one issue I have is getting this back to orbit and getting the Laythe one to orbit, because the Laythe one has to go through an atmosphere and has to achieve over 55-kilometer altitude. This one, just provided we can clear the mountains, we're okay. So both this and Laythe I'm really worried about. But that's it for this episode. Find out what happens next time in the next Kerbal Origins, and as ever, stay shiny.